Wake up, West Georgia. It's time for the podcast powered by Coffee and Mountain Dew. The Morning Five with Bryce Sparling and Billy Lindahl.
Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son.
The holiday hoobie wuddy.
That's the only time in your life you're going to hear short is better than long.
Bigger package.
Your brain has the shell on it.
Is it?
You eat pieces for breakfast?
We got some hardwood.
Collegiate?
I don't know how long this is going to last.
Good morning, West Georgia. Welcome in on this Thursday edition of the Marine South Morning Five. Today is February 17th. Today is National Cabbage Day. I am a huge fan of cabbage. I love it. It's especially good on New Year's morning. You know, New Year's Day when you have that meal with your entire family, you get a little cabbage. Oh man, corned beef and cabbage, maybe on some St. Patty's Day. It's amazing. It's one of my favorite meals. You get it and you put a little hot sauce on there. Hot sauce is on the cabbage, it's on the corned beef, and then afterwards you have like a bowl of hot sauce and water and you drink it. Cleanses out your system. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. Enjoy the beautiful weather. We have 70-degree weather coming today. Enjoy that while you can. I think rainstorms are supposed to start around 5 or 6, but for the day, it's supposed to be gorgeous today. A little bit of clouds, 70 degrees. That's the false spring, I think, because this weekend's supposed to be cold. I believe today is the last day of the fall spring, and we got 4 or 5 days of cold weather. Let's get into the sports that we had going on last night in our area. First, we're going to touch on the Hawks, who just obliterated the Magic last night in a game that I told you yesterday should be like this if the Hawks want to be considered a legit contender. You have to take care of the crappy teams. The Hawks did not do that last week versus the Spurs, but they did get the job done last night versus the Magic. They beat the Magic 130-109, and I'm pretty sure they had over 100 points going into the fourth quarter. That's a perfect type of game you want going into the All-Star break. Trae Young played 36 minutes the night before in his 41-point game, and last night, your starters really only played 3.5 quarters. So that's exactly what you want going into the All-Star break. It's going to give them a longer break, more rest, and that's what you want in an NBA season. It's really long, and when you have these back-to-backs like we did last night, getting those starters rests, oh man, it's fantastic. Trae had 22 points and 6 assists. And once again, it's such a great game when your star, Trae Young, doesn't have to go for 40 and you still win by 20-plus points. Granted, it's against a crappy Magic team, but when you can have production down your bench and down the starting lineup, and especially with one of your stars, John Collins, out, that's really fantastic to see. Bogey had 23 points and 6 assists coming off the bench last night. Kayvon had 15 points and Hunter had 15 points. And that's all you can ask for. I said this a couple days ago that when a role player like John Collins, a big role player, goes out, you want other people on the bench to step up and fill the void that he left. And they did that last night. I mean, DeLon Wright had 10 points. So it's great to see that much of production down the lineup. DeAndre Hunter did go to the locker room with a laceration on his face. He was eligible to return back to the game, but he did not. So, let that heal over the All-Star break. I don't think Hunter is going to participate in anything in the All-Star game festivities. So let that heal. Gallo also was limping most of the game on that ankle that's been bothering him, but he did play 26 minutes and he was fairly productive. Lou Williams last night set an NBA record when he entered into the game for the Hawks with 2 minutes and 38 seconds left in the first quarter. It was his 985th game in which the 16-year veteran came off the bench, breaking a tie with Del Curry. And Lou Will has been a fantastic, call him bench player, I guess. I don't want to say it because he's just as good as the starters, but he has won the Sixth Man Award twice. So good on Lou. He's going to hit that 1,000 mark this year. The Hawks have placed 7 scores in double figures for the 3rd time this season last night. Like I said, everybody stepped up. Everybody stepped up and contributed to this huge blowout win versus the Magic. And Trae Young is the first player in the NBA this season, and the first since Brandon Ingram back in 2021, to notch a perfect clip from the three-point territory and free throw line in a single half. The minimum is 4 minutes, 3 field goals, and 3 free throws. So, yeah, Trae Young was perfect from the charity stripe last night, as well as being perfect from beyond the three-point line. Maximum efficiency. That's great to see from Trae Young going into the All-Star break. I mean, it's nothing but positives out of last night's game. You did what you're supposed to do. All right, we saw an article last night, 10 bold off-season predictions. So I'm going to run these down, and I'm going to tell you if I agree or disagree, and then we'll look afterwards to see if I have any to add. Aaron Rodgers returning to Green Bay, 100%. I 100% agree that Aaron Rodgers is going back to Green Bay. I think Green Bay is going to go all in, get Rodgers back. He's already under contract there. I think they're going to franchise tag Devontae Adams, and I think Green Bay is going to do what the Rams did this year and really try to go all in for a Super Bowl next year. I mean, the defense needs a little bit of help up in Green Bay, but they were just banged up this year. Russell returns to Seattle. No, this is not happening. Russell Wilson is out of Seattle. Russell Wilson might go to Indianapolis. He might go to the Steelers. He might go to the Bucs, the Saints. There are a lot of places that Russell Wilson might go. Seattle's not one of them. Colts trade Carson Wentz. This will not happen. Colts trade Carson Wentz specifically to Green Bay is what the rumor or what the bold prediction hat said. This will not happen. I believe the Colts will cut Carson Wentz. I don't think anybody's dumb enough to trade for Carson Wentz. His cap hit is massive this year. Not as massive as somebody else we're about to talk about. But nobody is going to want to trade for Carson Wentz. Tampa Bay is not going to trade for him. San Francisco trades Jimmy G to the Commanders. Possibly. I mean, Trey Lance is the quarterback in waiting there, so I could see this as a possibility. The Commanders is a landing spot. I'm not sold that Tyler Heineke is not an NFL quarterback, or Heineke, excuse me. I think Tyler Heineke is a quality quarterback, so I'm not real sure why the Commanders would trade for Jimmy G. Is Jimmy G definitively better than Tyler Heineke? I don't think I could say that. I think Jimmy G probably has a higher upside than Tyler Heineke, but I don't know if I'd trade for Jimmy G. I don't think I would if I was the Commanders. Steelers signed Mariota and draft a quarterback. So the Steeler quarterback controversy, or it's not even a controversy, I suppose, but after Big Ben retired, they don't know who the quarterback's going to be up in Pittsburgh for the first time in like 30 years. Signing Mariota, yeah, that might be a good stopgap. I know people up in Pittsburgh really are clamoring for a down year for the Steelers to try to pick up C.J. Stroud in the draft next year. Minnesota trades Kirk Cousins to Denver. This will not happen. Kirk Cousins is not going to be traded. Kirk Cousins' cap hit this year is somewhere in the ballpark of $46 million. That is his total cap hit this year. No one is going to trade for him unless Minnesota is super desperate and takes on most, if not all, of Kirk Cousins' contract. Kirk Cousins is not getting traded. Falcons trade Matt Ryan to the Browns. This is also not happening. I've seen rumors about Calvin Ridley being traded to the Browns. I think that's more of a possibility. Calvin Ridley has said he doesn't want to remain in Atlanta. He wants to be traded. Arthur Blank has said that he wants Calvin Ridley to remain on the roster, so we'll see what happens there. But Falcons aren't trading Matt Ryan. I don't know who would they have as their backup. Are they going to draft a quarterback? And this is a terrible draft to draft a quarterback. Las Vegas trades Derek Carr to the Colts. This is also not happening. Derek Carr was an MVP candidate for most of the year last year, and even performed fantastically after Chucky was fired. What was that, week 10 or week somewhere around there? All the controversy that surrounded Las Vegas last year with the coach and what's-his-face getting a vehicular homicide and killing a person driving drunk. Forget that wide receiver's name. But all the controversy that surrounded Las Vegas last year, and Derek Carr was really the only rock out there and steady performer. He's not going anywhere. The Eagles add a quarterback to compete with or replace Jalen Hurts. That's possible. Jalen Hurts really came on in the latter part of last year and solidified Philly as a playoff team. Obviously, I didn't think they were going to win a game, and they proved that by getting blown out in the first round. But I don't think it's time to move on from Jalen Hurts. I think Jalen Hurts needs 1 or 2 more years to prove himself there in Philly. TB12 unretires and is on an NFL roster week 1. I 100% agree with this one. especially after listening to Tom Brady's comments on his Get Up podcast a couple weeks ago, I 100% think Tom Brady will be on an NFL roster week 1. And if he is, it'll probably be Tampa Bay, as they still own his contract. All right, so everybody knows baseball's in a lockout, but not only is baseball in a lockout, the Braves star Freddie Freeman still does not have a contract. Chipper Jones yesterday was talking about Freddie Freeman and the contract and the Braves and the negotiation and all this. And here's a couple of things that Chipper had to say. He said, "I don't know. I haven't talked to Freddie in quite some time, but I'm sure he's probably a little frustrated this wasn't done in spring training of last year. But the fact of the matter is we didn't have any fans in the stands. We've got owners that didn't know where revenue was going to be at the end of the year and maybe held out a little bit. The bottom line is Freddie, I believe, before it's all said and done, will be playing where he wants to play. I know he's a West Coast guy. I know he has a home in Atlanta. But Freddie, if he wants to play for the Atlanta Braves, he will be playing for the Atlanta Braves. I'll leave it at that." Chipper also added the Braves had made some offers, didn't make him happy, Jones said. "He's being courted by some of the prettiest girls on the block. He's going to listen to them. I hope that he thinks about his legacy here in Atlanta and they can come to some sort of an agreement to bring him back, because I'd love nothing more than for his number to go right in there in between Dale Murphy, Bobby Cox, in between the 3 and the 6, a couple down from number 10, because we've talked about it often and I think it would be a shame if it didn't happen." Okay, let's unpack that real quick. Chipper said Freddie's going to play wherever Freddie wants to play. That's obvious. Freddie Freeman is a premier free agent on the market right now. He's the number one. I would argue he is the number one first baseman in baseball. If he's not number one, he is without question top 5. He's a veteran. He is a proven commodity. His defense, he's won multiple Golden Gloves. He's won an MVP. He's won a World Series. I mean, Freddie is a Hall of Famer. Freddie is a Braves great. So Freddie will play wherever Freddie wants to play. And if he wants to go to the West Coast and play with a team out there, he will make that happen, because that's what he wants to do. And all-stars, superstars, MVPs, Hall of Famers get to decide that. The Braves made Freddie an offer that didn't make him too happy. What the hell? What the hell, Atlanta? You're making a star, the biggest star you've had since Chipper, angry. I don't know if he was angry, but not happy at the contract you gave him. That's stupid. Why would you? I don't understand this. And then Chipper talking about the owners not knowing where the revenue is going to come from. Are the owners really that terrible? They're going to find revenue streams. These owners for baseball are not stupid. They're going to find revenue streams. They're going to find ways to make money and recoup the losses they had from COVID. That's a crappy excuse, in my opinion. I don't know if that exact excuse was coming from Chipper or if that was something he was told from the owners, but I'm not buying that crap. And the fact that if Freddie leaves and goes to play for somebody else, that should have no effect on Freddie's number being retired with Atlanta. His number is up there. Irregardless of where he plays, Smoltz went to play somewhere else, his number's up there. Glav, somewhere else, his number's up there. Maddox, someone else, his number's up there. There should be nothing else, apart from Freddie Freeman going to the Yankees and literally saying F Atlanta on the broadcast every single night when he hits a home run. Apart from that, there should be nothing that takes away that opportunity for Freddie Freeman to get his number up there and retired as an Atlanta Brave. He's already solidified that. Going through the years of crap with the Braves when we sucked and finished last in the division every single year in and year out for like 5 years straight, Freddie didn't say nothing. Freddie was a constant professional, and he led this team to a World Series and an MVP 2 years ago. Freddie Freeman is solidified up there as a number retirement. I hope he's back, and if he is not back, I will be furious at the Atlanta Braves organization for years. All right, we have some scores last night. A lot of baseball last night, and a lot of basketball coming up tonight. So let's go ahead and get into the scores from last night. Number 2 seed Heard County beat number 3 seed Haralson County. That's the girls, 39-22. That was a semifinal game. Temple, number 4 seed, did lose to Callaway, who was the number 1 seed. This is also girls, 66-19. That was the semifinal game as well. The undefeated Bremen girls did lose to the undefeated North Paulding girls 4-0 last night in soccer. So that is Bremen's first loss of the season. They moved to 6-1. Central beat Haralson County last night in baseball 4-3. Asher Hamilton just came up huge in the top of the 7th with a bases loaded 2-out single. Drove in 2 runs, and Central won 4-3. Heard County beat Jackson last night 6-1 in baseball. Connell White, 4 innings and 8 Ks for Heard County last night. That is efficiency. Good for you. Mount Zion beat Creekside 11-1 last night in baseball. Mr. Gordon went 2 for 2 with 1 RBI and 1 run. Jakubiak, Young, Handwork, and Rivers all had 1 RBI for the Mount Zion Eagles. And Butler had a complete game, 3-hit, pitched complete game, 3 hits, 1 earned run, and 12 Ks from that young man. That was fantastic. Creekside had 9 errors last night, I believe I saw. So good win for the Mount Zion Eagles. Temple did beat Landmark last night in a game I was at. They won 5-1. Bott went 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs. Gage Tucker and Ricky Ruiz combined for 7 innings, 1 earned run, and 10 Ks. Ricky Ruiz, number 19, they brought in halfway through the game, and that kid was bringing the heat. I mean, he had a cannon on his arm. And Temple was super aggressive with their base running, and it caused Landmark to have 3 or 4 kind of fielding errors or gaffes or something. Beautiful night last night, though, and great. I'm telling you, the hot dogs and the hamburgers I had last night from Temple, fantastic. They were delicious. Scores and events tonight. We have a bunch of basketball regional tournaments going on. These are all semifinals or championship / consolation 3rd place games. So listen up. A lot of stuff going around. Callaway will play Freeman tomorrow night. That is a semifinal game, 7:30 p.m. That's the men's. Paulding County will play Carrollton. That is also the men's at 5:30 at Alexander. So that's kind of close to home, luckily. Number 2, Carrollton will play number 3, Dalton. That is the girls at 4 p.m. at Alexander. I'm going to try to make it out to that game. I have a list of about 4 or 5 games that I'm going to try to bounce around to tonight to see a lot of these kids play. Number 1, Central takes on number 4, Pickens at 8:30 p.m. at Northeast Whitfield. If I had a private helicopter, I would fly up to watch that. That is also a semifinal matchup. Number 1, Pickens versus number 4, Central. That is the girls. That's at 7 p.m. up at Northeast Whitfield. These are also semifinal games, so a win here puts you in the championship game. I believe those championship games will take place on Saturday night. Number 3, Haralson County versus number 4, Temple. That is girls. That is at Callaway. That is the 3rd place game. So Temple and Haralson County girls can still capture 3rd place in the region. Heard County versus Temple at 6 p.m. That is boys. That is a semifinals matchup. Number 2, Heard County versus number 1, Callaway. I cannot wait to watch this game. That is the girls' game. That tips off at 7:30 at Callaway. That is the championship game. I am going to try to make it down for that game. Callaway is one of the most impressive girls' teams I have seen all season, and I would love to see them play Heard County, who is also a fantastic girls' team. And then Jackson versus number 4, Villarica at 7 p.m. at Villarica. That is girls. That is a semifinals game. Villarica girls did beat Jackson recently, so we'll see if they can do it again and get some magic going. The boys for Villarica have already been knocked out of the region tournament. We have 3 baseball games tonight. We have Bowden versus Woodland at 5:30, Bremen versus Paulding County at 5:55 p.m., and we have Villarica at Cedartown at 5:30 p.m. We have some men's lacrosse tonight, Carrollton versus East Paulding at 6 p.m., and we have 4 soccer games on the slate tonight. Carrollton is at South Paulding, the boys and the girls. Girls will go off at 5:30, and the boys will go off at 7:30. Haralson County is at home versus Hiram. The girls are at 5:30, and the boys are at 7:30. So good luck to all those young men and women that are playing tonight, especially the ones in the basketball semifinals, 3rd place games, and championship games. Bring home some more championships to the west side of Atlanta. We already have Mount Zion girls who are champions of their regions. Now we need some more. We need some more. I want more. I want more. I want at least 3 championships won this weekend in basketball. Time for another cup of coffee. It's just me this morning, so I've been sipping on coffee and water this entire time, but I definitely need another cup of coffee. The medal count for the USA, we were at 21. We were still in 4th place, unfortunately. I don't know what it is about the Winter Olympics, but it doesn't seem like we can get our mojo as good in the Winter Olympics as we do the Summer Olympics. Every time we watch the Summer Olympics, I feel like we run away with the medal count all the time. I don't know if it's because of the amount of athletes we have in the Summer Olympics, or if it's just because we're better at the Summer Olympics than we are at the Winter Olympics. But we are still in 4th place. We're in 3rd in gold medals. The USA women's hockey team last night did win silver versus Canada. Canada beat us, so Canada gets gold. Good job, America's hat, I guess. We did win gold in freestyle skiing men's slopestyle. Alexander Hall won gold, so good for Alexander. I don't know what in the hell that competition is. I've never heard of that. Freestyle skiing men's slopestyle. I'm going to have to look that up after we get done recording this pod, because I've never heard of that, and I don't know what it is. I wonder if it's that thing where you have the huge ramp and you do the flippity-doos after you get off the ramp and you spin around a bunch of times, and it makes me look like I want to throw up. Today in history, in 1985, the 27th running of the Daytona 500, after taking pole at a VIN record speed of 205 miles an hour, Dawsonville's own Bill Elliott, Awesome Bill from Dawsonville, dominated the race, leading 136 of the 200 laps and took victory. So good job from Awesome Bill from Dawsonville. And if you haven't been up to see his museum, go up to Dawsonville and see Bill Elliott's museum. I haven't seen it since his son won the NASCAR championship. I wonder if they've put any of his stuff in there, because that'd be pretty cool if he did. That's a really neat museum celebrating one of Georgia's best. I don't know, is he an athlete? Are race car drivers athletes? Sportsman, maybe, is a better word than an athlete for a race car driver. The MLB Players Association and the owners plan to meet again today per a report. Who the hell cares? They're not going to come to an agreement, and screw the MLB owners. That's what I have to say on that. Hope springs eternal, though. If we get a deal done today, guys, tomorrow's podcast is going to be nothing but baseball. That's all we're going to talk with baseball. The Daytona 500 qualifying was last night. Kyle Larson and Alex Bowman locked out the front row. I believe those are both Hendrick cars. Michael McDowell, last year's winner, qualified 23rd, and Jacques Villeneuve, who is an F1 world champion and I didn't even know was still racing, qualified 36th. Everything outside of the front two doesn't really matter, because we have the they used to call them the clashes, the qualifying races at Daytona. I believe those are tonight. I can find that out for you, and we will tweet that out. But everything outside of the front row doesn't really matter, because we have the 2 dashes that start. I think it's tonight. It's either tonight or tomorrow. But the front row is locked out. Kyle Larson's 1, Alex Bowman's 2. And everything beyond that is still up for grabs because of the way they do the Daytona 500 qualifying. It's not like normal qualifying. You don't qualify one shot and done and get into the race. You have an actual race in race, which saying race in race, that doesn't make sense. Yeah, I think that's tonight on FS1. I don't know. FS1 and FS2 have so much NASCAR coverage this week. If you flip on, it'll be something NASCAR. And if you are interested in NASCAR, check out TM5's new podcast, Track Talk, with me and Matt Ridgway. But that is it for this morning's Morning 5, presented by Marine South. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Thanks for all of our sponsors. Thanks for everybody that tags us in all of the updates and scores and everything on Twitter. It helps out a ton when we were doing this podcast and setting up our sheet and everything. Much love to a lot of those kids that have a big game tonight, and we hope that they are all playing on Saturday in the championship games. We will be here tomorrow, same time, same place. Everyone have a lovely Thursday.
Shake your neighbors! Just shake them! Shake your neighbors!